Hello YouTube, this is Insane Monster, and we are here for part 8 of What If Asta Was the Son of Cain. Now, this took a while because I needed to set up a couple of things in my head in order for things to match up and for it to be pretty interesting. Now then, with that being said, I do hope you have been enjoying my videos. I'm glad I'm getting some replies from some of the other uh, videos and playlists that don't involve Asta and Deku What Ifs, the other ones I have on my channel. And I'm glad you like those. But reminder, you guys actually picked the lineup. Both the main lineup, the What If Lotto, as well as the poll lineup that's all being run using YouTube and Discord. So do keep that in mind when asking for parts, because literally I'm not choosing. With that being said, before we start, hit it. Now then, we start off at the Black Bull's hideout as Asta is waking up and going down to get him some food. Primarily a very large meat dish that Charmy is whipping up a storm of. As the more recent addition to the Black Bull's hideout's denizens being an SCP that was dropped off by Pluto, the dimensional jumper who got himself apotheosed, as he left Androcles with them. Androcles is a more or less an immortal Spartan SCP who also became apotheo. As Androcles sits down, he looks over at Asta smirking, stating, "Your appetite for meat is about the same as your father's," causing Asta to slightly choke at this. He calms down, stating, wait." Androcles smirked. "I'm basically an immortal. It only made sense I would have run into him eventually. But, as for how we ran in, that's part of the past I'm not going to go into. It's complicated. Complicated name is the Foundation." As he calmed down a bit, asking some questions about his dad. Like, what exactly was he like? As Androcles only knows little, he described him as somewhat stoic, though his curse made it to where whenever he walked near any form of plant life or anything made of plant life, knocking on the wooden table, it would rapidly decay. The soil that he would walk on would just become barren. The other Black Bulls in this just state, "Whoa, that's that's pretty crazy." Which is something Magnus just said on impulse. Indirectly laughs as he chugs down some more alcohol, with Vanessa looking at him stating, "How are you still drinking?" He just smirks, stating flat out, "I heal faster than the alcohol can damage my organs." As C is just not feeling good from the hangover. So yeah, Asta did state, so basically, his curse was reversed when I got it or something? And directly just shrugged, stating probably. The one who cursed him probably didn't want the whole sins of the father thing falling on your shoulders for no reason. You didn't do anything. As Asta sighed, with Gordon quietly murmuring as he states, yes, that's right. Asta's father is supposed to be the, as he gulps a little bit, humanity's first killer. And from what he said about the curse and punishment, it doesn't sound pleasant. As Luck chimed in, stating, yeah, but he must have served out his sentence if he finally died. As Magna quickly slaps Luck from the back of the head, as Luck realizes what he said might have not been the best thing to say in front of Asta. Asta just shrugs it off. This is when Yami comes in, yelling, Oi! Androcles, Asta, you're going meet with the royal healing mage. Under the orders of the Wizard King. He wants some kind of understanding about you two in at least some capacity. I don't care, so I'm not going. General, beg him. As General just states, yes, Captain. As they hurry up and go through the portal. As Yami receives another message from the Wizard King telling him to come as well, because Julius forgot to mention it. Hold it, I'm coming too. Once they get there, they go over to the royal healing mage as he begins to use his magic to make the jellyfish and examine Asta and Androcles. He can't really find anything off about them. He tried to check what they could do. He took a little needle, pricked the finger on Androcles' finger, on the tip of Androcles' finger, and it closed up immediately. There wasn't even any blood that came out. Then he tried the same thing on Asta. This time he felt the pain, and now his finger was bleeding. As he asked Asta to, as he looks at his notes, turn his skin metal? As Asta did, and tried it again. This caused nothing to happen, no more pierce puncturing, and the metal seems to be pretty insanely durable, and probably nothing that none of his tools or whatever could even do anything about it. Not that he was going to try to do anything invasive, considering what happened with the needle. But he took a look over the results. He couldn't find really anything. He was expecting some form of curse or something, but no, this just, of course, this eliminates some possibilities, but now it raises a lot more questions. As the doctor sighs and apologizes that they can figure anything out, Androcles just laughed, stating, of course, a mere mortal can't actually see what's going on with us. Only the gods can. As he just laughs, walking out. Asta follows suit, being curious about what he just said, knowing who his father was and what that lineage is about. Yami just goes on his own to look around. Finral and Charmy, who tagged along, also follow Asta and Androcles. As they begin to walk and talk, they end up running into Mimosa, and Klaus. As Asta smirked and fist bumped with Bell the wind spirit looking at Asta weirdly, not understanding what he is. So she keeps pretty quiet about it, because she's trying to understand what is this. Also having the same feeling from Androcles. As Mimosa walked up to Asta, saying hello, and asked what are they doing here. Asta just replied that they were just here to get a checkup from the royal healing mage. Something from the Wizard King to try to understand me and I guess my uncle? Sort of? Klaus looks at Androcles, stating, wait, you're his uncle? I thought you... Androcles just put his hand in front of Klaus's face, stating, don't. It's complicated enough. You're only gonna hurt your head. But yes, in a odd situation, not blood related, but related in a different way. My name is Androcles. And you could consider me and Izuku, apologies, me and Asta family in a way. As Asta overheard the name that he stated, with something that Androcles, the name he said before while he was drunk last night, but didn't get a lot of details from him. So he just let it be. As Klaus just pushed up his glasses and asked the obvious question. Are you like, Asta? He smirked, stating, in a way. I don't reflect damage, I just heal from it. As, well, eyes widened, stating, what? Androcles just laughed hard, quite heavily, stating, well, of course, I am maybe 1,000 or so. I kinda lost track. For a couple of 100 years at least, I was stuck in a cell of a stone statue in a deep sleep. So there's that. The Golden Dawn are completely speechless. There is no words. As just states, for some reason, I believe it. I have seen so many things about Asta that this doesn't surprise me. As Asta says, hey, what did I do? Just looked at him, stating, you almost drowned in potatoes. Do I have to say anything else? Asta looking down, stating, I'd rather you not remind me of that. But it did keep the village fed pretty well. As this is when the Diamond Kingdom attacked. When this happened, went skywards to go confront the Diamond Kingdom Shining General that uses lightning magic in aerial combat. As everyone else was scattered, bringing about to fight the other members of the Shining Generals and their forces. Androcles just smirked, slamming his fist into the palm of his hand, stating, all right, now this is what I'm talking about. He walks over to what looks like a metal rod as he smirks, grabbing hold of it, stabbing it into a nearby rock. Lifting it up, Klaus and Mimosa wondering what he's doing. Suddenly they see that the metal is warping as well as the sword. Well, the concrete and such, or rock, or whatever you want to call it, it just morphs into a sword and a shield. Sword being very large, as the nearby rocks begin to cluster together, creating what looks like uh, rock golems in the form of people. As Androcles smirks, he states, "Well, young one, you gonna get in on the fun?" Asta smirks, pulling out the Demon Slayer and Demon Dweller sword, stating, "Right!" as they go off. Mimosa going to where the injured are, they start healing, as Klaus did his own thing to take care of the scrubs from the Diamond Kingdom. Androcles and Asta were being followed by Charmy and Finral, who were giving support. As they were terrified, the Diamond Kingdom forces were freaking out. For one of their mages attacked Asta with lightning, but ended up getting electrocuted himself. Some of them got their magics blown back at them, and others just felt the wrath of the Demon Dweller and Slayer sword striking them. The others had to deal with Androcles, who would not go down. No matter how much blood they saw shed, they didn't see any injuries. He was healing too fast. Not to mention the apparent stone warriors beating them up. This being when the Mucus mage, which, begins to slither in with a bunch of people inside of his magic to use as a human shield. Seeing this, they notice that he's missing an arm. As Laundress lands on a nearby roof, about to attack, one of the stone golems that Androcles made grabs onto his wrist, as he states, "I wouldn't do that. Besides, it's already going to be taken care of much more efficiently." As Asta runs straight in, yelling, "What do you think you're doing?" blitzing straight towards him, as the signing general launches Mucus at Asta, only for Asta to go through a portal, finding Asta attacking him from behind, striking him down, and dispelling his magic. Androcles had his golem release Laundress then, as the signing general was now being restrained, and all the people were being checked up on. Laundress looked annoyed, looking at Asta, Androcles, Finral, and Charmy, stating, "The Black Bulls, huh? You dare have your golem lay a finger on a noble?" As Androcles looked up at him, "Nobility, royals, members of the ruling class, tell me something. What would you have to rule over if there was no people to rule over? In fact, you would be the ruler of nothing. Quite literally. Just killing off your own people just because it's convenient? Honestly, I feel sorry for the Golden Dawn if you're their vice captain. The mere fact is, you probably see all the other members as something disposable as well." As he walks away, Laundress is angered, as he sends a shot of facial magic at Androcles, only to have Asta blast it right back at him, reflecting it, stating, "What are you doing?" as Longris dispelled it, stating, I was teaching someone their place. As Androcles just smirked, stating, young man, you have no idea what you're up against. So maybe you should calm down while you're ahead. This being where the rest of the Golden Dawn wrap up, as well as Yami and Captain Vengeance, with Mimosa, Klaus, and Yuno meeting up in the same area. William looks at his vice captain with a look telling him to calm down, as Longris just walks away. With Finral sighing, stating, I'm sorry, guys. Dracula looks at Finral and sees the resemblance. He sighs, remarking, you can't choose your family, kid. Surprising Finral for a bit, but figuring he put two and two together. As Captain Yami grabs onto Asta's head, raising him up, feeling the same pressure that Asta's going through, but stating, took down the signing general of your own, huh? Not bad, kid. As Asta smirks, stating, yeah, it turned out pretty well. Dropping Asta, he looks over, seeing the mess the place is in, stating, ugh, but I ain't cleaning this up. This is where William comes down, stating, yes, it will take some time to clean up the damages as well as all the rubble. But it shouldn't be much of an issue. He looks over at Yuno, stating, which reminds me, Yuno, I would like to send you on a mission with one of the more senior members of the Golden Dawn to deal with some bandits. Klaus asked, sure. You normally team him up with me and Mimosa. Is there a reason for changing that? William stated, oh, it's nothing really. I'm merely just wanting to get a good evaluation from one of the more experienced members of our squad in order to see what Yuno can do with his wind spirit. I am quite curious. As Yuno states, I understand. As Yuno's going to be going on a mission to deal with some bandits. Asta smirks, stating, good luck, Yuno. As he just walks away, stating, I'm sure I won't need it, causing Asta to be a little annoyed about that attitude of his again. As everyone goes, once they get back, and after some time, we see that someone is approaching the Black Bull's hideout. This being around midday during this time, and he's knocking at the door. Only to have an explosion happen because Luck and Magna are fighting again as the man in the robe, in the hooded robe, is getting up from the unpleasantness that just happened, with Yami yelling at them again to stop. This being when Vanessa goes to the door to see who was knocking before the door got blown up. Seeing a dude on the ground, and his face has multiple eyes. He has pupils, but the irises and the whites of his eyes are all different colors and arrangements of what looks like, well, from what you know, nebulas like from space and such, in all different colors and settings. And they're moving. As he yells, stating, "What is that?" Asta came forward, stating, wait, isn't that the guy who brought backup at the sea temple?" As he brushes himself off, closing his eyes, putting the hood back on, stating, "My name, or at least you can call me Pluto." "Can I come in? I was asked to keep an eye on things here for a little bit, due to situation. So, I have something to tell you and you're not going to like it." As he's let in, with the other SCPs in the house coming in as well, with currently in the form of the small cat Jasper, SCP-074-JP, as well as Yako, the tiny Terminator, and etc. With this, he begins to explain that he's been trying to look for the others like them that have come here in order to drag Osto. With Yami stating, yeah, we didn't really get a good explanation of why that is. As Pluto began to look at Androcles, stating, "You were supposed to tell them." As he scratched his head, saying, oh yeah, once we got back here, we kinda partied, and you drank so much that you forgot, didn't you?" Androcles looking embarrassed. As he states, "I'll leave the long explanation for later. Short version first. They want you," pointing at Asta, "to drag over to an individual you really don't want to be dragged off to. But they're also helping the Eye of the Midnight Sun as an agreement. They help them, and the Eye of the Midnight Sun will help the anomalies capture you. Just that simple. And I've been trying to look for them. My best bet is that they're in a strong magic region. You can only see what was in the underwater sea temple because it was in its weakened state. When it's not in that state, it's like trying to look at something through fog so thick you can't even look at your own hand in front of your face. The high density mana there seems to act like some kind of blockage my vision. Since it does warp a lot of things, those kinds of areas. As for you who have seen the dungeon, which is also an area that has warped space and rules of frickin' reality that don't really add up, like messed up gravity, water flowing upwards, sideways, upside down, all that. Yeah, that's yeah. As he continues stating, I only tracked them down once they left out of one of these regions, but I highly doubt it's the one that they've been staying in, so I wouldn't pay it too much mind. As he begins to explain the situation, he found them, but they weren't alone, and the one that was chomping on Asta last time wasn't with them. Asta sighed in relief as Pluto continued, stating, "There's a large horde of undead, as well as a large group of the Eye of the Midnight Sun, and another was apparently sent here too," as Pluto pinches the bridge of his nose, being annoyed about what he saw. But you'll have to see that to understand it. As he saw this, he noticed something else far off into the distance. There was other movement as well. The Diamond Kingdom was moving in, as well as the Eye of the Midnight Sun, into Clover Kingdom territory to the collision force to some kind of village, castle kind of deal, with houses that look like they're made in or out of trees. And it's all women there. This is where Vanessa pipes up, stating, "That's the witch's forest." Gulping, she's stating, "They're going to attack the witch's forest? That's my home." As they figured that they do have to do something about this. They can't just leave it as it is. Yami states, "Alright, I'll go call the Wizard King. You all get over there." With Luck stating, "Aren't you coming, Captain?" Yami looking back, stating, "No. The Witch Queen annoys me. Not to mention, I'm not really welcome there after something happens." As Noel asked, "What did you do?" As he states, "What? Okay, I did go a little bit wild there, yes, I made a cut open a hole inside of a building or two." As they state, "Yes, Captain, it's probably best you don't come," as Noel just states that. Pluto says that they should get going, but before they left, they had to meet somebody else, as Vanessa asked for it. Finra opened up a portal, and they went over to the old diamond mages that were currently in hiding in the Clover Kingdom in the Forsaken Realm. As they were talking, they explained that there was his students that were going to the Witch's Forest in large numbers, as well as members of the Eye of the Midnight Sun. So they did agree to go along. With all this, and after Yami informed them that he already sent the message to the Golden Dawn, because he was asked to by the Wizard King. Once they were set up at the spot, a spatial portal opened up, revealing Klaus and Mimosa. As they said hello, Mimosa states, "Hello, Asta. So, seems like things are getting crazy again, huh?" Asta sighs, remarking, "You have no idea." As Androcles states, "Come on, we gotta go. Everyone grab on the Pluto." As Klaus and Mimosa are wondering who this is, but as everyone grabbed on, Klaus and Mimosa just realized this dude's many weird eyes. But before they can say anything, they teleport over to the Witch's Forest, which is where they are found out quite quickly. being stuck in a blood cake. Vanessa sighs, remarking, quick to the draw, as always. This being, after a minute, the Witch Queen shows up, asking, what are you all doing in my fort? As Vanessa explains that the Diamond Kingdom and I, the Midnight Sun, are heading here right now. Uses her magic, seeing through the vision of the crows she has control of with her blood magic, seeing that enemies are coming in large numbers, as well as a horde of corpses that many of them look jacked and appear to be capable of using magic. This being the collaboration from the good doctor, Rades, and Sally. As then she sees something completely out of the ordinary, causing her to flinch, surprising the witches of the forest, as he states, I just saw a giant flaming skeletal lizard walking over here with the eye of the midnight. Everyone going, huh? With Androcles stating, oh, that ain't good. As the Witch Queen looks at him, asking, you know where that is? He states that, I know it as the living Allosaurus skeleton. But it looks like it got a power boost. It has apparently a flaming body. Witch Queen states, questions for later, I suppose. But why are you here? As Asta states that they're here because that the Eye of the Midnight Sun and the Diamond Kingdom are technically invading the Clover Kingdom. Plus, they have enemies in their ranks that are going to be troublesome. Remembering how he got used as a chew toy by 682. Back at the hideout for the Eye of the Midnight Sun, 682 is griping about not being able to go and deal with the Witch Queen himself. This being where the good doctor walks in, stating, you should calm down. The Witch Queen has the ability to control the bodies of anything with blood. You count. Sending a few bodies, as well as one of our friends that doesn't have any blood at all. It's only logical. Besides, from what I've been told, I think it's best that we not give her the chance to take advantage of the situation and control you. As he scoffs, stating, as if she could. The doctor stating, yes, but you couldn't adapt to that individual. Yami, was it? You couldn't adapt to his magic. It's quite likely that the same scenario could prove the same for other magic. Well, best to keep safe than sorry. As Raya just kind of chuckles at this, stating, yeah, I will admit, you're pretty terrifying, big guy. And having you under that woman's control really unnerves me. As 682 just scoffs, walking away. As they were getting prepared, Asta noticed that they had some small tag-alongs. being the two cat SCPs and the tiny Terminator. He asks them, "What are you doing here?" Jasper states, "Are you kidding? You think we'd not come?" With Byaku stating, "Exactly. What? You think we're just gonna act like random house cats the entire time?" Both of these SCPs have been apotheosed, as the tiny Terminator just pulled out the two small swords and the tiny laser turrets on each shoulders, looking like it's ready to mess somebody up. As Asta slaps his forehead, stating, "Fine. Just don't get killed." As they said, right. With Byaku and Jasper getting longer. Soon after, it begins. The Witch Queen wasn't going to stop them from helping her defend her domain, but she had her eyes on Asta and Drocles, as well as the other SCP. As he sighs, stating, "Let's see what they can do." It was split up pretty fairly. Momosa would be hanging back in the rear to deal with any injuries that would be coming from the front line, as all the witches and such were prepared, and Drocles got ready to go, as well as everyone else. Asta, Noel, Finral, Vanessa, the tiny Terminator, and Drocles, and our two cat SCPs, Byaku and Jasper, are going at the Eye of the Midnight Sun, while the rest will be going after the Diamond King. Once the battle begins, it gets pretty intense. Jasper, using his wind ability as Jasper, slices up the corpses, switching over to Hamasa Puro, using his fire to burn the bodies, just to make sure. Byaku was tearing through corpses left and right, as the tiny Terminator was full on decapitating them with the blades and shooting the energy blast from the solder current from just shooting headshots left and right. And Drocles had his golems go after the underlings, as Asta and the rest of the Black Bulls with him go after Fauna. With this, the other Black Bulls that came along, being Ghost, Gray, Charmy, as well as Luck and Magna, went to fight the Diamond Mages. So that goes on, and the witches use their protective dolls to float around to help fight and take out the grunts. This being where Longris and as well as Mars start their push to help advance their cause, since they came here to get magic from the Witch Queen to help the Diamond King, who is currently dying, or at least on the verge a bit. With that, we switch over to the fight between the Black Asta's team and Fauna, which Asta still has to ride on, hanging off a broom, as it begins. With a large breath of fire that shoots out a fireball, Vanessa uses her thread magic to launch Asta in front of it, using his demon slayer sword to slam it, reflecting it, only for it to be dispelled. As Fauna begins to get serious, using the crystal magic, or mineral magic, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. And starts shooting out swords. As they see what's going on, they recognize it as Noel and Asta recognize this is the same matchup of magics that Mars used in the dungeon. With that, they figure that she must be from the Diamond Kingdom too. Especially now that they get a good look at her grimoire. During the fight, we see that Mars notices Fauna and goes straight for her. As Asta helps deal with the magic attacks going at them, with Vanessa and Finral's help not being able to get Asta too close since Vanessa's threads are burning away. And we also see that Finral is freaking out, panicking, but staying as focused as possible so that they don't get skewered by the crystals, trying to have them go directly back at Fauna, only for them to fail. This is where Mars shows up, yelling, "Fauna! Do you remember me?" As Fauna looks at Mars, he states, "I don't know you." As he fires spirit magic at him, sending him back. This giving Noelle a chance to use her sea dragon's roar. It does its job like as in canon, as it takes out Salamander, which Fauna is riding on. As she begins to become more and more angry, stating, "You'll die. You'll all die. I hate you." Mars is trying to convince her, to remind her of who she is, but the memories from Fauna the elf and the memories of Fauna the human are just jumbled up, dramatic, and making things worse. As she turns into a fire magic bomb. As it begins to charge, Mars looks worried as Asta grabs his shoulder, stating, "You want to save her, right?" Looking at him, he shook his head in agreement as Asta smiled, stating, "Let's go." Using his metal skin, he goes forward as Mars does the same, using the Phoenix healing cloak in order to protect himself and heal him as he gets closer. Once they get closer and closer, Asta is able to strike at the orb with the demon slayer's sword, dispelling the mana bomb that Fauna became. As doing this, broke the spell that had elf Fauna controlling human Fauna's body. As he smirked and just went exhausted from all this, Mars caught her. He was glad to have her back, as their teacher stated, "It's good to see you kids again." Only for Mars to ask, "Teacher, why are you shirtless?" As this man has a problem with not wearing a shirt. As Mimosa runs up, trying to see if everybody's alright, as well as Klaus, since the Diamond Kingdom grunts were being handled pretty well, they decided to come over to the giant mass of mana that they sensed. As Mimosa looked around, people had their clothes singed a bit, nothing too permanent, and Lusk heavily yelling, "Ah!" when she saw Asta's clothing almost completely burnt off. Asta's pants are now shorts, he has no shoes, his Black Bull's robe is torched up, and he no longer has a shirt. As Androcles laughs, stating, tattered clothing are just the marks of a fine fought battle. As Mimosa is trying to contain her blushing and panicking from the scene. This being where Longra shows up, laughing. Floating up in the air, he states, "Oh, how touching! A nice little reunion with old classmates and our teacher." As Lagris just continues laughing. As he states, "But I'm kinda sick of all this mushy stuff. And Mars, seems like you've gotten pretty weak. Don't worry, I'll make sure to tell the kingdom that you died honorably in the Diamond Kingdom's name and such. You'll do our country proud." As Mars tried to stand up, he collapsed. His body was pretty exhausted. As Lagris began to fire attacks, Asta reflected it back at him, only to have Lagris absorb it. As he states, interesting, aren't you? How about we have some fun, then?" As he fires off multiple attacks. Just about everybody there is out of mana, and Dracula doesn't have any form of flying capabilities or anything long range. As for the SCPs, well, after taking care of the zombie horde, they are now trying to contain the living skeleton that is currently going on a rampage with its blood-colored demon fire body. As Byako and Fukutin using her light, both of them using their lightning to strike at it, as the tiny Terminator just keeps shooting. It ain't doing much, but it's at least keeping it preoccupied. As things just continue like that while they deal with Lagris. As Asta uses his metal skin, Lagris can see that he's getting some hits in, but they're not doing anything. As he looks around at the exhausted individuals, he suddenly sees Androcles that pretty much had his golems yeet him over to him, only to get shot back down to the ground by a strong magical being, stating, "Not a bad trick, but you'll have to do better," using his magic to blast the golems into pieces. As he states, "You can protect yourself, kid, but how well can you protect everybody?" As he charges up magic, Asta hurls the Demon Dweller sword, stabbing him into the shoulder. Asta begins to walk forward. He tries to beg for his life, beg for forgiveness, only to use his magic to create a dust storm by blasting the ground and getting the sword out of his shoulder. He goes straight for Fauna, grabbing her, causing her to panic, releasing an enormous amount of mana as Lagris absorbs it. Pulsating with power, he laughs maniacally. As he goes to fire off an attack, sending beams towards everybody on the ground, trying to kill him. Asta tried to think, I have to help them. I have to do something. This being when time seemed to slow. His consciousness was still going, but didn't move his body. He saw an odd man with white hair, a long white beard, and a smile on his face, stating, Oh, aren't you something? Patting Asta's head, he continues, Yes, you've gotten yourself in quite a mess. He looks at Asta after seeing everybody that was about to get hit by those blasts, as he sighs, remarking, No one here do anything to you. But that also means that in your current state, you can't help them. And I apologize. Your ability to reflect any harm towards you keeps anything from invading your body. Unfortunately, that is needed in order you to prevail. So, I might as well take care of it myself. Placing his hand on the grimoire, states, Poor soul, may not be necessarily what I'm used to dealing with, but you are unique, aren't you? Asta confused about what he's hearing, wondering why is he moving so freakishly slow? Why is everything moving so freakishly slow? He smirks. The old man smirks at for Asta to see and states, Don't worry. Your great-grandpa will give you a little push. As Asta finds himself in the same void area as he did before in canon, meeting the devil inside of his grimoire. Things go pretty somewhat similar, but when the devil offers him his power, he states, You can't do anything in your current situation, but match my anti-magic. Your abilities, and I think we can save your little friends. Him being somewhat more cooperative as he feels something from the old man helping this happen. And got a little message from him asking him to help Asta in this situation. For some reason. Felt like he had to agree. It was weird. Asta looked at him, Steve. Oh yeah? Why you want to help? The devil scoffed, stating, I'm helping because honestly I don't know. But I felt after that teaser had to just go ahead and link us like this. Had to. So, you going to accept my help, or are you going to swat my hand away? Asta stating, Let's save them and beat this guy. The devil laughed, stating, I like that feistiness at least. As a sudden burst of dark and what looked like dark energy became pulsating from Asta. The ground began to develop large amounts of plant life, covered in black markings, as they shielded everybody there that Lagris was attacking. As in the center was a black sphere. The Witch Queen was shocked. Not only did some strange individual that she can't even tell what he is showed up, but that boy, as he recognizes the sword as the Demon Slayer sword. He knows that, and the power of anti-magic, the ability to destroy magic itself, Something like that could turn the world on its head. And his capabilities besides anti-magic were phenomenal. Everyone looked around. The plants weren't underneath them, but they were above them, protecting. As they began to open up, as they saw Asta, what he looked like, the right part of his body was enveloped in dark black, as his normally blue markings turned red on that side, as well as his right eye as well. What looked like red flames with black markings in them coming from the glowing marks on his body that was covered in black, as what looked like blue lightning shooting out from the other side of his body from his markings. His went full metal skin protect him. As he looked at Longress, Longress freaked. What is this? Asta just stated, Dark Eden. Looking at the plant life that was destroying any mana attack that struck these plants. As he began to charge up more power and just fire, Asta just launched his forward, and the fight goes similar to as in Canon. Over and over again, he tries to attack Asta, but nothing. Everyone looking at this, as the Witch Queen is impressed with his power. Taking a glance, the old man that just showed up out of nowhere, as he takes a quick look at the Witch Queen. He mouths, I see you, and begins to mouth other things, as she has a scared look on her face. What is he? How does he know all those things I have been keeping to myself for so long? As he continues stating, don't try what you were planning to do once this is over. Trust me, it won't end well for you either way, whether I interfere or not. As this was going on, Asta was able to strike at Lagris with a final blow, but not before he takes a ton of mana and just fires it. It misses Asta, but then goes flying up into the air. As Lagris stays there, he just sighs, remarking, I don't think I can do anything else. My head feels a bit clearer now. Looking at Asta, still in Black Asta mode, he states, just get it over with and kill me. Asta yells, are you serious? Why would I kill you? You got a lot to make up for, like cleaning the mess you made, apologizing to everyone, only to have everyone shocked at this. With this, things calmed down a bit, only to realize that the large amount of mana that Lagris tried to hit Asta with is coming down, and it's scattered everywhere. It begins hitting the ground with large explosions as they try to ask Lagris to dispel it, but he can't. He doesn't have enough mana in him at all, or any physical strength whatsoever to do it. And it wasn't originally his mana to begin with. As Vanessa starts to see this, she panics. She doesn't want her home to be destroyed like this. In this stressful moment, the old man smirks, stating, Hmm. Very good. As the spell writes itself into her grimoire, a red cat made out of threads appears and begins meowing loudly. Vanessa doesn't have any connection to the queen, but the people here she does. She cares about them. As the fireballs then just start to fizzle out and miss people altogether. The Witch Queen is astonished by this, but then the old man looked at her again through her viewing, stating, I told you, I wouldn't if I were you. Being terrified. But the Witch Queen didn't even know why she was so scared at this old man. She decided to wait. With that taken care of, Asta's black Asta form vanishes. Looking around, he was relieved, but then his body began to ache in pain, stating, what happening? The devil inside of his grimoire didn't know what was going on. As the old man walked forward, stating, oh, this is the first time you've actually been injured, isn't it? What? How? Mimosa stating, wait, what? As he goes over using healing magic quickly, realizing he is injured. How? Well, as the old man began to talk, this happened because, to be fair, this was a result, the backlash of that technique he used by his own will. Since it was by his own will to use it, there is no reflection. He receives it. As Asta states, well, that's good to know. The old man laughing as he states, oh, don't worry. It's not really that big of a deal. Despite not being able to be injured, you trained your body well. For all to gain all that muscle mass, you would have had to cause bodily damage to gain it. So you already have harmed your own body before. At least in a manner of speaking. As he looks to a side, stating, Androcles, Pluto, you don't have to hide. As they nervously come out, stating, hey, sir, they know who this is. They know who this is a fragment of, and they don't want to get in trouble in any capacity. As he smiles, the old man states, very well. Either way, thank you for watching over him. You're doing quite well. Oh, and you may want to deal with, you'll be needing to worry about that. As the giant flaming dino skeleton comes barreling through, and Drocles quickly hits it with his blade. As the creature steps back, with Byakko and Fukutin, as well as a tiny Terminator landing in front of it, getting ready for another round, since it tried to sprint towards the chaos while it could to try to grab Asta. Looking around, the Eye of the Midnight Sun are pretty much done, as well as the Diamond Mages. No more zombies. He's vastly outnumbered, outgunned. Doing this, the creature begins to run back, as they do want to chase it down, but are stopped. As the old man states, I wouldn't if I was you. Those flames of his are not normal. And if you don't have the ability to rapidly heal or something that would reflect the damage, I severely doubt you'd survive. As the old man bowed, stating, but I think I shall leave. As he just disappears. Asta asking, who was that? And directly stating, your great-grandfather. I'm not. Let's just leave that for when we get back. I want a bath, and I want food and booze in me before I start talking. Pluto stating, I just want a drink. This was madness. I was keeping my head down. I don't have any combat abilities. As they meet up with the Witch Queen, thanking them for dealing with that mess, and handing over the altered medicine for the Diamond Mages that they had a plan for. As little bird and arrow began to peck at the earring, which Queen recognized and stated, and as payment, tossing over the stone towards Asta, he remarks, this is a magic stone. I believe it might have been what they were after. As they're surprised that they actually got a magic stone and they didn't even come here for it. With that, they are glad, but she begins to explain about the magic stones, what happened 500 years ago, as well as everything with Asta's swords. So she also asks this, young man, what are you and your associates looking at Androcles and such? Asta scratches his head, stating, we're anomalous? I guess that's what I'm told we are. Witch Queen sighs, stating, ah, and you youngsters, so old. As Androcles states, youngsters? You're only about 500, correct? Sorry, but I'm actually older. Being flinching at it, stating, what? With Pluto stating, it is true. He is near 1,000. As Androcles introduces himself as a former king himself, as well as more or less a retired one, and an immortal of sorts, as he looks at the Witch Queen, stating, but, if I'm being honest, I don't think I'd mind having a drink with such a lovely young lady as yourself, causing the Witch Queen to not know how to take that, and states, well, everything is cleared now. You should get going. As Vanessa held back a bit while everybody was leaving, the Witch Queen walked up, stating, found yourself some interesting people to be around, and ones that seem to have been able to bring out what I never could. Showing off the red cap on Vanessa's shoulders. Vanessa stated, yeah, no. I also know that Rouge here will always side with me and the Black Bulls. So, I wouldn't get your hopes up too much. As she sighed, remarking, I won't. Besides, that individual that Cain just disappeared. I don't know why. Felt like they were staring at my very soul, warning me not to try anything. Never felt something like that. Well, Mimosa came back asking if Vanessa was okay, but she states, yep, fine, go. Back at the hideout, the Black Bulls are feasting in celebration, with Klaus and Mimosa there as well. As Noelle states, well, we got another magic stone, and now we got more questions about what just happened. Also, I would really want that image of the giant, monstrous, flaming skeleton out of my mind. A number of the other Black Bulls agreed to that. Drockley's laughing, stating, oh, if things keep going like this, you'll see much, much more of our family. With his arm around Asta as he says it, Asta like, I would love that. Everyone else stating, oh God, help us. And Dracula stating, well, a fragment of him already did. At least he whispered it. As Androcles and Bluto begin to explain a couple of things. After Yami got back from dropping off the magic stone to Julius for safekeeping. As they begin to explain the situation Asta is in, as well as his cousin, explaining that the children of King Evil, as well as the other dimensions and such, keeping it as simple as possible. But long story short, very, very evil entity that wants to destroy the entire universe and any other universe he comes across is currently trapped. Only way for him to get loose is to eat Asta and his cousin. Like literally, and absorb their abilities and traits. Asta stating, I don't want to be a meal. Mimosa stating, that's terrible. Yami stating, that's messed up. And Pluto stating, yeah, well, he's trapped, which is why he's sending others to do it for him, which you've already met 2 of them. As for the third one I know of, it's someone who's been enhancing those wraiths you've been dealing with. Old plague doctor. Quite a nuisance and quite unnerving to deal with all the dead bodies he reanimates. Not to mention what he does to them to strengthen them. No clue what he does, don't want to know, but I'm done my job, and now I gotta go back and talk to Bright. Just hope he isn't smoking. As he says his goodbyes and disappears. Asta asks, what does he mean by smoking? And Dracula just states, along with Byakuo, currently Jasper, and the Tiny Terminator, as well as the tiny mouse that was hanging around with a certain individual ever since coming to the Black Bull's hideout. That the Asta really doesn't want to know, and Asta is going to take their word on it. So they did ask about the old man. Dracules was just going to say that that was Asta's great grandfather, and he is also anomalous. And that's all he was going to say, because telling them that it was a fragment of God was not a good idea. Since they seem to be in the medieval ages, telling them something like that happened would probably just cause problems with the church. So yeah, with all that, everyone's pretty happy and glad. As Mimosa and Klaus leave, Mimosa tells Asta farewell and be careful with that new ability of his. Nervously, she clutches her wrist as Noelle and Vanessa are watching this. Vanessa asking, what do you think? With Noelle stating, as this version of Noelle doesn't have quite the same feelings for Asta as in canon, but still has a lot of admiration for him. He states, that's up to them, but I don't think I'd stop. As Mimosa impulsively gives Asta a peck on the cheek, as Klaus already went through the portal, and Mimosa waved by, hopping, following right behind, as he blushes uncontrollably. Asta, not knowing what to do at this point, just says, what? And this is where we'll be ending this What If. I do hope you have enjoyed. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys later.